how does AI and wealth management work? I don't know. That would be a great question for Finn. So this is why we need specific trainers in specific areas, because Finn, who works in wealth management, will know the answer to that question in a way that somebody like myself, who doesn't work in wealth management, would not, which means that a generic consultant, a generic workshop facilitator, someone like myself, or even McKinsey, they're not necessarily going to be able to help, whereas someone like Finn, who's worked in that industry, will know how people are using AI in the industry, what's gone wrong. He'll know examples where it didn't work, so you can help warn people. But this is why we need domain-specific experts who know the industry as well as AI. So Finn would have the answer to that question. What would you say is the lowest cost to build a foundation model? You can build a model, you can train your own GPT-2 or whatever, that's no problem. It's just not very useful. If you want a frontier level foundation model, so something that competes with Grok, ChatGPT, Claude, and then I think we're in the hundreds of billions now, but let me check. That's a really good question. Sorry, hundreds of millions, not hundreds of billions. What's the cost to train a foundation model? It goes up every single time. Foundation models, it also depends if you're building your own data centers, because those aren't cheap. So OpenAI says tens to hundreds of millions of dollars. One source said GPT-4 was $78 million, and Gemini Ultra was $191 million. Only 5.6 million for part of its model training. But again, we need to work out if that includes the GPU cost. If they build a data center, does this include like storage, engineering, data acquisition? Is it just running the actual training, or is it everything around that? And the companies are not very open about it. So a small, modest foundation model with a few billion parameters will cost tens of thousands to low millions. Mid-tier will cost millions to tens of millions, and state-of-the-art is going to cost you tens to hundreds of millions, possibly pushing towards $1 billion. Let's see, what about GPT-5? I wouldn't be surprised if it'd be hundreds of millions for GPT-5. Some speculative commentary suggests totals approaching or topping 1 billion, including compute and all overhead for GPT-5 scale. So we don't know the actual answer, but they think compute alone was between 300 million and 800 million. And then when you add in the engineering, research, data infrastructure, etc., it tops 1 billion. So a plausible ballpark estimate is 1 billion to 2 billion. This is why it's increasingly difficult for new entrants, because the scale to compete is very difficult. New models enter the market, but Microsoft's building a foundation model, which is great that they're getting into the game. We're going to have more competition. That's fantastic. But they have released it on LM Arena. Let's see how it's doing. LM Arena is not everything, but it's a useful benchmark at least. So on LM 25th. So my one preview is currently sitting at 25th. So it's below O4 Mini, DeepSeek R1, Claude Sonnet 4, Qwen 3, Longcat Flash Chat. I don't even know what that is. The Gemini Mistral, GLM 4.5, another Chinese model, Grok 3, GPT 4.1, Kimi, etc., etc. So the My model, which is a new foundation model, Microsoft's first foundation model that they are releasing, can't compete. There's no reason for anyone to use that compared to Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or even Grok or DeepSeek, because they're not competitive yet. So to become competitive, you need to spend a huge amount of money, and you also need to get your engineering in the right place. You need a good team who is used to, or who are very good at releasing models. The other companies have had years of practice doing this. So OpenAI, Google, DeepSeek, Anthropic have had years of doing this. Grok is the exception here. They've only been around for 2 years. I think they formed in March 2023, but it's very impressive what they've done. Microsoft now need to play the catch-up game, and they're going to have to spend billions training their models, because that is now the price of entry, and they still might be behind because they haven't got that institutional knowledge of releasing those models. So it makes it very hard for them to enter and play catch-up with everyone else. So we really do have 10 players, not even 10, probably less than 10, and it's going to be very hard for new companies to enter. Maybe Apple, if Apple pull their finger out, but I don't know about that.